We all experience different events throughout our lives. Recently, I was reading an article, and it was talking about high stress triggers that happen in our lives. And 3 of them really I related to very well. 1 of them was moving, 2 was divorce, and the 3rd was changing jobs. And I was reading this article, I was reflecting. I had just recently, last month, celebrated my 6th year anniversary at my job. And I was thinking, 6 years, I've been here for 6 years. That is quite impressive for me. And I was just thinking back, gosh, to 2010. What was happening in 2010? Well, on August 20th is when I accepted this job. It's the best job I've ever had. I love my job. I get to travel, I get to train. It's amazing. It's the absolute best job. But about 2 months after I took on this job, I started my divorce process. And that lasted about 6 months, and it brought me to Overland Park, Kansas. Now, mind you, I have 2 small daughters, okay? I have an 8-year-old, and at the time, it was a 5-year-old and a 12-year-old. And I needed to make this move very exciting, because it was hard for me, but I didn't want it to be hard for them. And because I was a divorce, I was like, I need to kind of see where I need to save up some money. I want to know where I want to take my kids. I want to make sure, because I'm switching into a different school district. So there's a lot of moving pieces during this time back in 2010. So I decided I'm going to stay in an apartment. And my goal was to stay there for 6 months. That 6 months turned into 4 years. And in a 4-year time period, I had 8 different neighbors that lived above me. So this community was wonderful. It was one of the ones that my company managed, but it was a revolving door. And I just the whole time felt I needed more security for my kids. I wanted to have a home. That's what I was missing for my kids. And the opportunity came, and I was so excited. Finally, I found this townhouse right up the street, 119th Street in Antioch. Beautiful. You walk in, hardwood floors, huge kitchen. I'd love to socialize in the kitchen, a finished basement. But the great part about it is there was upstairs where all the bedrooms were. So I could have my social events, I could have people over, and it wouldn't be disruptive for my kids. I loved it. Even better than that, my dog Vincent loved it, because now it wasn't a fight to get him who was going to take him out for a walk. He had a backyard with a fence. It was perfect. Everything was perfect. We move in, my kids are excited. It was the first time that I really felt they were having sleepovers, because there is a little bit of stigma when you're a single mom and you live in an apartment. And maybe it's just an ego thing for me, but I felt it. But when I moved into a townhouse, it was different. I felt like we were home. I felt that my kids were happy, we were secure, it was great. Everything was perfect until it wasn't. It was about 3 months that I lived there, and I get this text message from my brother-in-law, who they were renting a townhouse just about 3 blocks over. I get a text message with this, it was like an alert, this picture and this name. I didn't recognize the picture, and I didn't recognize the name, but as I scrolled down, in big letters, it said sex offender. And I'm like, well, who is this person? I've met my neighbor. I have a townhouse. I've met my neighbor. He's a wonderful person. But if you looked at watchdog.org, the picture is right on my house for a sex offender. And I'm like, who is this person? I've never seen this person. Still to this day, I've only seen this person 3 times. This person is my neighbor, the person I met, son, that lives there. He's a registered sex offender. His offense was when he was 20, he had sexual relations with a 14-year-old. So now I'm conflicted. This house that I used to want to run to, I now want to run from. And as a mom, I think, do I stay? Do I go? How do I educate? What do I say? Where do I go from here? And there's still a lot of questions that I still don't have the answer to. I had to educate myself. I had to educate my kids very quickly. We want to live in an environment where we can trust everybody. And it's sad to me as well because I look at this neighbor that I never see, that never comes out, that is always in his house. They have, it's like when I first moved in, it was in August, they had foil all around all their windows, and I thought it was just to keep the place cool, but that foil in a year and a half has never come down. Like I said, I've seen this person 3 times, so have my kids. It's a feeling that we get in our stomachs that we don't want to have judgment on somebody. Has he already paid for his crime? Would it ever happen again? But as a mother, that day, having that information was probably the worst nightmare today. So I'd like to end where I started. We all have our stories, don't we? Some stories merely create a ripple in our lives, while others go deeper. So much that they can change the course of our lives dramatically. Mine is such a story. It's no sadder or deeper than anyone else's. It's just life and how I choose to respond to it. I have realized that's what really matters. Thank you.